I'm Brother John Pancini. I'm from San Jose, California. A lot of people call it Silicon Valley, the other name that we would give it. Today we're going to be talking about my vocation. The question is about my vocation, how it came about. Well, when I was young, I could talk about my vocation in three phases. We could talk about it. We could see it that when I was younger, when I was learning to be an altar boy, well, the first thing that the priest asked us, his name is Father Peace, and he's a Polish priest, and he asked us, what is it that you want to be? So when you grow older. So he came up to me and he asked me, what is it you want to be, John, when you grow older? And the only thing that entered my mind in this moment was to be a priest. Usually a kid at that age wants to be a fireman or a football player, football star. I mean, even though I was very athletic, but the only thing that entered my mind was to be a priest. And some of the manifestations I had when I was younger was that was one of them. And another one was, I remember when I was in Mass and I was I was looking at the priest and go, if I'm going to be a priest, I have to follow what he's doing. So I was doing all the things that the priest was doing. And it was First Friday Mass and everybody at the school goes to First Friday Mass of the month. And my mom was at the Mass, I didn't realize it. And so I was following the priest. My friends were looking at me, saying, well, what is he doing? And I was in third grade. And so they saw me, and they started copying what I was doing. And so what happened was I got in trouble, and I couldn't go play during lunch. I had to eat lunch on the bench and everything. And then when I got home, my mom, that was the worst part. My mom it was my mom who gave me the worst punishment. Anyway, for doing that in front of the Mass. Then the next thing, I grew up and I was playing sports. I played football, basketball. I did a lot of surfing. Things like that, normal things, windsurfing, and also the jet skis. We went jet skiing. And normal things that a young man will do. But a lot of times that had caused me to forget about what I felt when I was younger, of wanting to be a priest. Because I started getting into worldly things with a lot of the friends, a lot of worldly things, going to parties, going to the beach parties, going to dances and all that stuff. Normal things that in today's society young men do. What happened was I started getting away from the church, falling away from the church. The thing is, looking back on my vocation, I saw that, looking on that back on my vocation, I see that when God called me back, when I had my conversion back to the faith, it was a miracle. It was a miracle because just the way my life was living, I'm not gonna go into details what the things that we did and as with my friends and everything, but I wasn't a bad kid. I was, in front of my friends, I was a saint, but before my parents and my family, I was the black sheep of the family. So I was like right in the middle. And what happened? The change that I had in my life was when I went on a Marian pilgrimage. I can't see where, but sorry. Oh gosh, I messed up. So when I went on this Marian pilgrimage, I went with a group of 40 young people. Because I went with myself, my brother, my sister, my two sisters, and it was really an experience. We went for 12 days, and that's where I felt my conversion to come back, where I felt the need to come back to the church. I wasn't far from the church. I went to Mass on Sundays. I went to Mass on holy days because my parents, they're very religious, and they made sure that they taught us the faith. But living in a pagan society or in a secular society, this is what happens. You have a family, and then that's teaching the faith, and you have a society that's pulling you away from the faith. Anyway, what happened there was one day I just didn't feel anything, and I was heading up the mountain. We were praying our rosary, and I just didn't know why I was here. And this is the part of my conversion. I didn't know why I was there, and I was asking God, help me to at least to see where I'm going in life. What is it that you want from me in life? And I just remember coming back down from the mountain. A seminarian he came up to me and he said, John, what you're doing everything wrong. Everything that you're doing is just wrong. I mean, what are you talking about? And he said, well, you're trying to ask God. You're saying to God, I want this, I want that, I want this, and you're trying to take control of the situation of life. You're trying to tell God what you want. What you need to do is ask God what is it that He wants from you. And from that moment on, my whole life just changed. It just changed. I started thinking that's true. And so you go to the typical confession, you go through everything like that, just to come back to God. And I started going to Mass, and all of a sudden I started thinking, how do I put God in the center of my life? So I went to, I started thinking, well, I have to go to put God in the center of my life would be go to Mass every day. So I started going to daily Mass. And it started making a change in my life. Where does vocation come in? Well, this is where I started rethinking of what I felt when I was younger, about how God was calling me. I go, how am I supposed to know that God's calling me to the vocation? I mean, here I am. I want to get married. I had a girlfriend, but I also had this other feeling within that God was calling me to do something else for Him. And so I went to a priest and I asked him, what is it how are we supposed to know if God's calling us to a vocation? And the priest gave me a simple answer. He goes, you just have to go and find out. You just have to go to a seminary and find out if it's your vocation. Oh, that's true. He goes, look, if you're going to find out if you have a matrimonial vocation, you're gonna go out with a girl for a year. Why don't you do the same thing for God? Put God in first place. So that made me think, oh, that's so true. And you know what? I forgot this to say before this. While I was in college, because I went to college, and I was at junior college. And while I was there, I was sitting on the bench reflecting one day of what career I wanted to take. And this is another thing that helped me out. What career do I want? I wanted a career that would help people. Because I was studying automotive technology, and it was in the computerized parts of the cars. And anyway, I was having a dialogue with God, with myself, and I was asking, what career can I have that can help people? And one of the careers I was thinking, I could be a doctor. That would be a great career because I could help cure people. I could be a lawyer because I could help people out who are in need of a lawyer. I could be a psychologist because there's a lot of people that are a little crazy outside the world and they need help, psychological help. So I was just thinking like that there, and then all of a sudden a question came in. It was like an interior question. What's the most important thing for me in life? And I answered it. And I said, well, the most important thing for me in life would be to go to heaven. It's the most important thing. And then I started thinking, well, that's true. And then the most important thing is to help other people to get to heaven. And that's just a thought that started coming in. And so I started thinking, well, that means the only way to help people to get to heaven would be through the sacraments, and that would mean I'd have to be a priest. And so that's where the thought came in strongly. And then when I went to go talk to a priest, and that's when he told me, well, you should go to the seminary and find out if it's your vocation. And so I asked him, I go, well, wait a minute, how do I know what seminary, what congregation, what order? Do I want to be a diocesan priest? Do I want to be a religious? Go to a religious order? And so anyway, he told me, he said, that's what you have to ask God, and God will let you know. And because he told me, Father Bob, he said that the way his vocation came about was that, and it was a congregation that wasn't near his house. He thought there would have been one of the congregations near his house. And what happened was another congregation had called him that was farther. And that's what happened to me. And so I was asking God, I go, what congregation should I go to? Where should I go? And he did. He put it in my hands, and I was still blind. A priest told me, he said, why don't you go to see the Legionaries of Christ? He gave me the papers and everything, He says, this is an Orthodox congregation. It'd be the best thing for you to do is go see the Legionaries of Christ. And I said, wow, that's good. I've never heard of them before. Who are the Legionaries of Christ? And so I just kind of put it off to the side, and I go, what congregation could? And he told me it was a new congregation. I go, well, I don't know what congregation could come out that could be good in the 20th century. So anyway, I kept going, and then my brother, then one day, oh no, I just expressed. Then one day I asked my mom, I was talking to my mom, and she said, well, you know what, 2 priests are going to come to our house, and they're going to eat dinner with us. And well, that's fine. And she goes, I want everyone to be here. And so it was 2 legionary priests. They were looking for donations to help out the congregations, and anyway, they came and they ate dinner at the house, and it impressed me the way they were dressed, the way they talked, and the way they presented themselves, and then also the photos, the pictures that they showed me. They showed me the album, and how all the legionaries go to Rome. They go to Rome and they study in Rome, and they get to celebrate the Mass of the Pope. And wow, I hope one day I'll be able to celebrate the Mass of the Pope one day. And I mean, I haven't still, but I still believe that God will give me that grace to celebrate the Mass with the Pope. But I've been to a lot of Masses with the Pope, and that in itself has been a grace. But anyway, how my vocation came with the Legionaries, and I still was thinking, but they want me to go. I'm from California. They want me to go to the East Coast, which is in Connecticut. It's on the other side, and I don't want to leave California. I've got everything I want here. I mean, I like California too much. I was just attached to California, and the beach, and just everything, the life that I was living there, and the family. Well, anyway, what happened was a brother had started calling. He started calling the house, and he was calling my younger brother Robert, and he was asking him. And I had the phone. The phone was on the side of my bed, and he called. And there's a 3-hour difference from Connecticut to California, and so he was calling me at like 5 in the morning. At 5 in the morning, and so I hear the phone ringing, so I answer it, and he goes, "Hey, is Robert there?" And well, listen, he's sleeping right now, and I'm not going to go wake him up. And this went on, and I go, "You call back later, okay?" And he goes, "Okay." So he calls back the next day at the same time, and I told him, I go, "Look, he's sleeping right now, and call back later, and everything." So he calls back the third day. And I answer the phone, and I go, "Look." I go, "Look, what is it that you want?" He goes, "Well, look, I'll talk to you." He goes, we're inviting Nuestro Padre is coming, the founder of the Legionaries of Christ is coming, and we want to invite you to come to meet him. And so I was thinking, well, okay, give me the information. Who am I supposed to call? What are we supposed to do? What day? And I was just thinking in my mind, man, I don't fear God. I don't fear God. I don't fear God or man. But this guy is just bothering me. I'm just going to go. Like the parable in the Bible, it was saying, the bad judge. So yeah, his persistence won me over. And so anyway, I told him we're going to go. And so I hung up, and then we called the travel agency, and they got us tickets. And so my brother and I went. And we went to Cheshire, and it was an excellent experience. I mean, when I went there and I saw all the brothers in Cheshire, Connecticut, I saw the brothers, the way they prayed, the way they were. I mean, it wasn't just that they're brothers that were just super holy, walking around with their hands in a prayer position. They also play sports, and that's another thing that I saw. They played soccer, they played football, they played basketball, swimming. And I thought, wow, it's really well balanced here. We have time for prayer, we have time to play, we have time to study. I mean, it was really a well balanced. And the thing that caught my attention was the charity. We wouldn't use charity in English, but it's the way the brothers are, the charitable. Well, I guess we could use it. The charitable way that they acted. They're really friendly, and they came up to you and they help you. They would speak to you. They would guide you. They would, and that's one of the things that helped me out. But I was still I was still wondering, one of the things, I was still wondering, is this where God wants me? Is this where God wants me? We had a talk with Nuestro Padre, and I should call him our founder, Padre Marcial. He gave us a talk, and it helped me out vocationally, but I was still doubting, and I wanted to go back. And so I asked Father Daniel Long, Father Daniel, I don't know, help me out. I want to go back, and because I don't think, it's the first congregation that I've seen, and I think it would be smart to go to other congregations and see what they have to offer. And he said, look, I don't know what more you want to see. Because you've seen our founder talk, you've seen the brothers, you've seen everything here. And you're happy. And he goes, if you look at other congregations, there are other congregations that are fighting within. And this is what won me over here. A lot of other congregations that are fighting within, and they're wasting their time fighting within, while we have this unity, and we can go and fight against the enemy, the devil, the enemy of the church. And we dedicate our time to help save souls, and that's what won me over. And so that's why I went to the Legionaries of Christ.
What would you advise young people, young adults, men and women, who are looking, who have that faith but haven't made that first step, or haven't said, I have the trust, but I don't want to, or I want to?
Yeah, it depends on the obstacles that you have in life. There's a lot of young men that have obstacles in life. The obstacle would be they have a scholarship, or an obstacle is they want to first have their career. If they're young, if they're coming out of high school, or if they're still studying, they want to finish their career. No, there could be obstacles. My advice is what I just said before. Put God in first place. Trust in God, and He's going to help us. He's going to help us out. He's not going to deceive us. He's going to give us all the help that we need. And if it's your vocation, you're going to be happy in life. Because I always tell young people that God gives us one of three vocations in life. You can be a father of the family, marriage life, matrimony, and you can also be a priest, a religious life, or a nun if if you're a woman. And then also the third one, which isn't very common, would be we call it bachelorette life, but where you don't get married, but you dedicate your life. It could be a consecrated life or something like that. And anyway, this is what I tell the young people. To find out what God wants from you, what do you have to do? You have to go and find out if that's exactly what He wants. You can go, for example, if you want to find out if this is the right girl for you to get married, well, you're gonna go out with her at least a year. And then you're gonna say, well, she's the right girl. Or after a month, you'll find out she's not the right girl. And it's the same thing with religious life. How are you gonna know if God is calling you if you don't give God the chance? If you don't go and find out if this is your vocation, and how difficult it is to find out if it's your vocation if you're not in a state of grace, or if you're not living in relation with God. You have to have that relationship with God, and that's the most important thing. Put God in first place in your life.